What is up, everyone, and welcome back to Baldmanreacts. The Gazette Dogma long requested. I wasn't going to do it, but to do a full review of Ninth and really cover my bases, I need to be able to hear Dogma and have that as a reference to discuss Ninth, because it is a heavier record, and I want to be able to draw those comparisons for you guys of what I think. And you guys have been waiting for me to do a full reaction on this. Yes, now that I'm doing a full reaction, there will be a review coming at some point, probably in the first couple of weeks of July. We will see. Now, like Ninth, it will be up on YouTube without the track audio due to copyright reasons, because it will be blocked in certain countries otherwise. And it will be up on my BitChute channel with the track audio for viewing there. Those links will be in the description below. All of the stuff I know I'm going to have copyright issues with will go up on BitChute, so you can watch it there. So, let's get into it. I don't have all the translations. The lyrics I don't know will just go off a feel until I actually get the translations. But it's going to be a good ride. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get into it. The band is the Gazette. The album is Dogma. The first track is Nihil, and here we go. Found a nice full video with the track names and all, so this should be good. Also makes the edit a whole lot easier, thankfully. I like the opening here. They do a really good job. Seems like they open all their records with an intro, and I do like that. I like that attention to detail. It's really interesting techno-industrial feelings here. Like the different vocal textures. The next track is Dogma. Like that strong riff. Love how heavy that riff is, how groovy that riff is. Certainly familiar. I like the use of the synth accents back there. I like that very dark atmosphere. I like that spoken word and the darker vocal approach. Love being treated to those incredibly strong cleans from Ryuki. Really like all those different electronic elements in the synth tones. Phenomenal vibrato there. Great shift into that scream. Definitely treated to a very modern metal sound here. Really nice use of harmonics in a riff. It's a nice bit of mid-range from Maruki. Nice to hear that. Love that falsetto and the vibrato that he's using there. That's a great touch. Really like the way the riffs are evolving here. Great sense of groove. Phenomenal sense of vocal melodies there. Like that multifaceted vocal approach. Really like those atmospheric elements. The layering really helps make this track what it is. The symphonic elements there. All right, the next track is Rage. Has a very Sepultura-like feel in that riff. Big and groovy, very heavy. Similar to guitar tones. Really like those vocals there. Those layers are awesome. It's a little more straightforward groove than I'm used to hearing from Kai, but it works. I like the way these riffs are shifting. I'm not a fan of how far back those cymbals are. Most of the drum tones are pretty good, but the cymbals are almost buried. They sound really processed. The guitars are really forward, though, and I like how clear and articulate they are. These synth layers are almost a little bit muddy in the mix job here. There's a lot of guitar layering, but it seems muddy and it seems like certain things are being buried. Do you really like the riffs, though? And I like the chorus here. It's a nice break in the synth accents there. There's some of that drum work that I love from Kai. Really like that synth work. That next track is Dawn. Get that nice familiar polyrhythm going on here. Really strong riffing here. And I like the vocal choices that Rookie made with this track. I like the choice of that crash work drum-wise. It's a good drum cadence. I was wondering how they'd work a bit of that punk-like feel in, and they did that right here. Are they going to build into that groove? No, they changed. Wow. Not really used to hearing breakdowns out of the Gazette. That's a cool touch. Works pretty well. It's pretty effective there. Good layered, clean vocals here. Those big tom passages. That transition was a little less seamless than I'm used to hearing from these guys. That's kind of surprising. There's finally get a little bit of Reitza there. Really like that riff. It's familiar, but it's really enjoyable. It's interesting that he actually repeated that breakdown twice in this track. I didn't expect that. Oh, right. That was pretty good. Next track is one I absolutely love, one I am incredibly familiar with. It is Duracine. Love, love, love the synths to open this up. Always wait for this. Great drum cadence here. Really like the guitar counterpoint choices here. It's a really strong riff. Such a heavy riff. And I do really like the choices of English here. To me, in some ways, I think it's a little more effective for what they're going after. Love this slapped bass passage. Wraitha really shines here. It's laid over a great drum passage. Really subtle fill there, and I like it. Love the use of that vibrato here in this chorus. I like how they palm mute this part of the riff. And they've got that guitar accent going over top. Now they let the chords ring. It builds that effectiveness of the riff. One of those tracks that really drew me to Ruki's voice. Such a powerful yet enjoyable track. I love how they just let that drum line ride this track out to the end. The next track is Bizarre, one I have not heard. Like those more industrial elements making their presence felt here. I like that fuzz, and I really enjoy this vocal. Some of these riffs have a very Nevermore-like feel in the groove. Love how heavy and dry that tone is. Really like that industrial feel here. That's a great touch. Really strong layering. Great shift into this big melodic vocal. Like that vocal layering, the additional vocal there. I love that industrial passage. That's just good stuff. I like the vocal effect here because it really works with the industrial heavy approach. That's a cool change. Clearly it's building. Again, with some of these transitions, they're a little less seamless, a little more jarring. Like that higher register vocal there as well. It's a good layering. Really like that riff. It's almost Megadeth-like. I really need to get into Division, so I really like the industrial elements they're using. Next track is Wasteland. This has got a Rammstein-like feel right off the bat. Love that vocal. Such huge riffs, big, tasty, chunky grooves. I love that shift from his low into his falsetto with a little bit of vibrato there. Such a great vocal. I like the addition of that spankiness in the guitar tone there in this cleans. Really a nice use of that incredibly high range. Really like that part of the riff. That Rammstein feel didn't last very long. This is straight up heavy modern metal track. Nice to finally get a solo. Oh, maybe not. There we go. Great vocal there. You know, more I listen to this, some of these riffs have a very Evergrey-like feel, and I love the hell out of that. Really mix some heavier stuff in there. These riffs here definitely give me that Evergrey-like groove. All right, that was awesome. The next track is Incubus. Nice pick scrapes, nice bit of wah usage. I like that riff quite a bit. I like the different vocals he's using for it. That was a cool change. Didn't expect that. I like the shift into that very easy drum groove. With this riff, it really works to give you a little bit of an uplifting feel. It makes the track seem a little happier, even though the lyrics I know probably are not. I like those synth tones, the different vocal elements once again. It's a really jarring change again. That almost sounds like a different track in a way. One of the biggest surprises, to be honest, with this record is their changes are normally really seamless, and they're not here. They're very jarring. That might have been done on purpose. This really is a track of very different passages. Like the addition of the female vocals there. Love the way that shifted and transitioned. That transitioned right. All right. Next track is Lucy. Oh, this riff is so familiar. I just can't place what it reminds me of. It's great movement to it. Nice choice of a gallant beat there. A lot of people might have used double bass there. Oh, I cannot place what this reminds me of. It's right on the tip of my tongue. I just can't figure it out. Nice drum roll there. Good fill. That almost sounds like a Metallica riff. Nice shift back into this strong main riff. That's a good way to open a solo. I'm so glad they let a solo loose here, because this certainly required one. This is a killer track, man. By far one of my favorites so far on the record. Oh, what that track reminds me of is going to bother me until I figure it out. That was awesome. That was Lucy. Oh, that next track is Grudge. That's a great change. Coming out heavy riff into these beautiful, sparkly clean. Gazette does that really, really well, and I enjoy it. Really great vocal choices here. That vibrato really works. Love the almost jazz fusion-like feel of these clean tones and these clean passages. I like that really high register being employed again. They seem to use that a lot on this record for coloring, and I really enjoy that. Really like that riff. Love how dry that rhythm tone is. Very tight, very dry. Such a crushing feel to it. Phenomenal vocals there. Certainly heard the riffs, but they do sound really good, and really enjoy their placement there. The next track is Paralysis. They're certainly sticking in this same box of heavy riffs here. Just slight variations on some of these riffs. That's a nice shift. They're certainly sticking with these big, beautiful, clean passages for the choruses with those heavy, punishing riffs under them. Certainly more of that mercenary-like feel to these riffs. I like that he's employing more of that harsh aggressive, too. Another really phenomenal change here. I like that slight use of English there. Sweet. That was another wicked track. Truly surprised just how heavy this record is. Ah, yes. I've done a couple of videos for this one, I think. This is due. You know, I don't know if I've ever heard the album version. Really like the piano usage there. Reminds me a bit of Full Devil Jacket with these riffs. I gotta be honest, for the most part, I've really enjoyed this mix. The guitars are incredibly forward, and they're heavy, and they're articulate. Love this big, gigantic chorus. Certainly very prevalent throughout this record is that hard exterior, that sugary sweet nougat. I like the effects going on. I like the effect on the vocal there. Love that guitar accent. I'd like it a little more forward, a little more audible, but it's a really cool touch. It helps break up some of that raw heaviness of this. It's got a nice feel. Love that piano work. It's really, really helped make this passage feel incredible. Really strong shift here. That was slick. Like the... I wish the change was a little bit more seamless here. Again, it doesn't necessarily feel like it belongs together. Would have liked if that transition was a bit more seamless. That next track is Blemish. I believe I've done a video for this. By this point in the record, you're incredibly familiar with what they're doing. Definitely get that very Soilwork, very mercenary or feel in that and the riffs here. Strong, heavy riffs, nice little bit of movement. Good polyrhythms. Interesting change. Really like that shift, and that riff is phenomenal. really like that this is in English as well. He's executed it well, and it really fits for what they're doing. That is a phenomenal shift, and that transition is seamless. That's what I'm looking for. Really like the cymbal work back there when I can hear it. Those little cymbal clinches, little accents, awesome stuff. But then again, I'm a big fan of Kai. That was wicked. That was blemish. And now I'm going to be upset. The last track is Anonymous. Certainly a different feel. Do believe I've done a video for this. I'm not sure, but I think I have. Really love this drum pattern. Again, I really love those electronic elements. The different textures, the industrial feelings, that little tingle up your spine, the accents. It's shifting well. I like those clean, acoustic-like guitar tones. It's a phenomenal way to finish off the record, that's for sure. That is a wicked riff. It's a great vocal to place over it. The chorus, at this point, if you've listened to the record, it's familiar. It's got that warm, tingly feeling of, man, this chorus is great, but it's effective. Really glad they're soloing here. And it's a lead trade. That's a good thing. Bringing those familiar electronic and ambient textures back that you've already heard in the rest of the record. It's a good way to tie it into this track to end it out. Really love those acoustics. Another phenomenal change. And again, you're treated to these incredibly powerful cleans that Ruki is capable of. Love that passion and pain that he puts into these vocal passages. You know, as much as I love this track, again, it's one that's very familiar to me because it reminds me of other bands that I listen to. Really love that lead work. It definitely has a bit of a mercenary feel. Oh, that sucks that this is over. That was Onyx. That was Dogma in its entirety. I know it has been a long time coming. I know it is one that people have wanted me to do for a while. And now that I know about BitChute, I'm far more comfortable doing it so you guys can actually hear the track with me. As I stated in the beginning of the video, it's going to be up on YouTube without the track audio. You'll be able to sync it like you normally do. I will give you where the first track starts, and you can sync it up right there. It'll be in the notes, as it always is. You can always just sync it up with Here We Go as well, but I'll make sure you have the exact time. Link to the album will be there, so just pull that up and adjust your volume level, or you can just go over to BitChute and check it out there with the full track audio. It is up to you. I like to give you options when I can. Well, what do I think? I think it's an old friend. I really do. There's so much familiarity to me being a fan of metal of this style that I've heard a lot of this in other bands. So it's got that big, familiar hug of an incredible metal record with a lot of the elements that I get with bands like Soilwork and Mercenary and Evergrey. Get a little bit of that Rammstein, you get some of that electronic, industrial synth elements going on that you expect in stuff like Scar Symmetry or Solution 45. You get phenomenal drum work, you get an incredible array of aggressive and clean vocals. And make no mistake, this is a modern metal record. You can call it VK all you want, but sonically, it's a modern metal record. It really is. I don't get a lot of the new metal influences. I get a lot of the modern metal influences. They're tuned down low. You can hear that. Got rich guitar tones. I love how articulate they are. I don't like that the cymbals are a little buried, and I don't like, because of just how heavy those tones are and how heavy the guitars are in general, that unless it's in certain sections, Rates' bass work is a bit buried. But it is to be expected when you're using such a high gain sound like these guys are for this record, and you're tuning down low because those frequencies are gonna be competing. So that's unfortunate because Rata is such an incredible player and I truly enjoy him. I do like the overall mix on this for the most part. Having listened to Ninth, I do like where the drums are placed here better. I think on Ninth they are a bit more forward, and I think they're a bit more balanced with the rest of the record here. I like the fact the guitars are certainly forward. They are the star of this record from a musical standpoint because, well, it's guitar-driven stuff. The guitars should be where they are. Ruki's vocals fit right over top of them where I want them in a record like this. So he's able to have that space to make his vocals as effective as they can be. So I'm happy with that part of the mix. Honestly, I do kind of wish that Ninth had this overall mix that Dogma has as opposed to what it has. I think this is a better mixed record. It's a heavy record. It really is. I can see why it was divisive for people, especially for fans of Nil and Stack Rubbish and their earlier stuff that had more of a punk feel. Even more so than Ninth, this is a heavy record. If you are not a metal fan, this is going to be a tough one. There's certainly a lot to love. There's great use of synths and industrial elements to break things up. There's some phenomenal layering and accent work to help tone down some of just how crushing this record can be at points. The riffs are tasty. You do, towards the end of the record, you do get to a point where it all becomes very familiar. And I'm not going to say some of the tracks are filler, because I really enjoyed every track on the record. But the familiarity does really start to get there. And, like, okay, I've heard this and I've heard that. It didn't detract from the listening experience. At the same time, I don't really know what I would change on with only having one full listen to the record. Because there's a lot of great tracks. There's some that are absolutely blew me away. Some of my favorites. Of course, I love Duracine. That's been a big one. But absolutely love Lucy. That's probably one of my favorite tracks on the record from what I've heard. Now, absolutely love Blemish. Love Onimus. That's a great way to end the record. Paralysis was fantastic. Grudge was incredible. Wasteland had a nice, different feel to it. Bizarre was wicked. I mean, I don't know. While their riffs are familiar, I really can't say that I would change much. It was an awesome listen. It was a very easy listen for me. And because it is so familiar, there's so many influences of bands that I love. So as a longtime fan of metal, this is probably one of the easiest, quote-unquote, visual K records that I've done, because it really is a metal record. And I'm in love with it. I really am. Is it better do I think I like it better than Ninth? That's a good question. When I listen to this one more and I do the review on this, after I do the review on Ninth, I'll answer that question. You'll have to stick around for the Dogma Full review, won't you? Huh? Come back for more? Anyway, I'll be able to answer that question then. I think Ninth is a bit more diverse than this record. This, like I said, this is flat out a metal record. Ninth has got a bit more diversity to it. While it's heavy, it breaks things up a little more and gives you some more looks. This just beats the crap out of you and makes me very happy at the end coming out of Omnis, because that's just such a wicked track. Sorry it's taken me so long to get here. Truly am, but I do have so much I need to do. And I don't want to keep doing Gazette all the time, but because I do want to do the Ninth Full review, and I am going to start doing many more reviews more consistently. I wanted to get here so I could make those comparisons. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it was worth the wait. I hope you check out the full review for Ninth, as well as the full review that will be coming for this. I'm going to start trying to get a couple of reviews a week once I get rolling. That might take a couple of days, but the reviews are going to be from all sorts of stuff, and from stuff that I've been listening to for years. So you might find something you like in the bunch. We'll see. Thank you, guys. Thank you all so much for the support. I truly appreciate it. It's been incredible. This is one of the 2 or 3 Visual K bands that's really broken me out. This, During Gray, and a lot of the Wagaki band stuff helped me out too, but I wouldn't call them Visual K. But I love you guys. Whatever your music happens to be, new and old subscribers, thank you for being here. Truly appreciate it. I couldn't do everything I do without you. As always, thank you to my law enforcement, military veterans, and first responders for what you do every single day. You have been awesome. I have been Baldman. I will see you in the next one. Be excellent to each other and keep headbanging.